The cost of happiness. I still remember the days when I was convinced that money could buy everything. I truly believed that if I worked hard enough and piled up wealth, happiness would follow automatically. My dreams were simple: a grand house, a luxurious car, and a life free from any financial stress. My wife and I saved every single penny. We lived for the future we imagined, one where we would want for nothing. We planned endlessly, worked tirelessly, and never paused. Years later, those dreams became reality. We moved into a sprawling mansion with more rooms than we knew what to do with. We traveled to breathtaking destinations. We dined at the finest restaurants. Our children had the latest toys, designer clothes, anything their hearts desired. From the outside, everything looked flawless. I felt proud. I had sacrificed so much and finally given my family the perfect life. I was certain this was what happiness felt like. Then one day the world cracked open. Our younger son fell ill. At first we brushed it off. He just needed rest, we thought. But he didn't improve. He was constantly exhausted and had no energy to play. My wife took him to the doctor. I was sure it was nothing serious. When she returned, her face was ashen. The fear in her eyes was something I had never seen before. The diagnosis was cancer. My heart froze. We had money, so much money, but it was useless against this. We flew in the best specialists, bought the most advanced treatments, paid for everything without blinking. Yet he remained sick. For the first time, I felt completely helpless. I wanted to fix it, but I couldn't. Every night I sat by his bedside, holding his tiny hand while he slept. He was so fragile yet so incredibly brave. Even through the pain, he would smile. He never asked for new toys or vacations. All he wanted was for us to stay close. That was enough for him. That's when the truth began to sink in. Happiness wasn't in bank accounts or big houses or expensive things. Happiness lived in love, in togetherness, in the quiet little moments. I had spent years chasing wealth, believing it would bring joy. Now I saw how wrong I had been. The hospital days dragged on. I sat watching him breathe, his small hands looking thinner every day, his face pale under the harsh lights. The only sounds were the steady beeps of machines. I tried to stay strong, but inside I was crumbling. I had always thought money could solve any problem. Now I knew no amount could fix this. Doctors came and went, speaking gently, explaining options. We agreed to everything, paid for everything, but no one could promise recovery. That uncertainty terrified me more than anything. My wife fought to keep it together, sitting for hours holding his hand, reading him stories, telling him over and over how much we loved him. Back home, the huge house felt hollow. The luxury that once filled me with pride now seemed cold and meaningless. The marble floors, the designer furniture, the manicured lawn, none of it mattered. Our older son tried to act normal, but I could see the sadness in him. The house was silent without his little brother's laughter. I started remembering the simpler times, when we had little money but so much joy. A tiny apartment, eating together at a small table, laughing over silly things, weekend trips to the park. Back then I thought more money would make us happier. Now I would give anything to have those ordinary days back. One night as I held his hand, he opened his eyes and gave me a weak smile. "Daddy, will you stay with me?" he whispered. My chest tightened. I had spent years working late, chasing success, thinking I was doing it all for them. In that moment I realized my son didn't care about money or gifts. He just wanted me, his dad, right there. That night I made a promise to myself. No more wasting time on things that don't matter. My family needed me, not my wallet. I squeezed his hand and whispered, "I'll always be here." The hospital became our second home. Days blurred into nights filled with the smell of antiseptic and the soft hum of machines. We lived for small signs of hope, but the doctors never gave guarantees. I began noticing the little things I'd overlooked before. The way my wife tenderly brushed his hair while he slept, how his fingers curled tightly around hers, how he still managed to smile through the pain. He never complained. He never asked, "Why me?" He was braver than I could ever be. Our older son was struggling too. He put on a brave face, but his eyes betrayed how much he missed his brother, how much he missed us. We were always at the hospital, leaving him alone too often. I had tried to give my children everything, except the one thing they truly needed, my time. One evening I stepped outside for air. The city lights sparkled in the distance. Tall buildings, expensive cars, people rushing everywhere, chasing the same things I once chased. What had it all been for? An empty mansion? A business that suddenly meant nothing? If I couldn't make my son well, none of it was worth anything. I went back inside, took his hand again, and for the first time in years my mind wasn't on work or money. It was only on him, on us, on all the moments I had missed out. I promised myself that if we got another chance, I would never make the same mistake. Weeks turned into months. The treatment made his hair fall out. His little body grew weaker. He couldn't run or play anymore, yet the smile never left his face. He smiled when his mom read to him. He smiled when his brother visited. He smiled even through the pain. One afternoon he looked at me with tired eyes and whispered, "Daddy, when we go home, can we play together?" My throat closed. All those years I told myself I was working for my family, and now my son had to ask me to play with him. In that instant I made another promise. If we made it through this, everything would change. No more letting work steal me from my children. No more missing dinners or bedtime stories. No more putting business before the people I love. Money had given us comfort, but never joy. Joy was in the ordinary. Playing on the floor with my son, eating together, laughing at nothing. We kept fighting. My son against the illness, my wife against her fear, and me against years of regret. The doctors offered hope but asked for patience. There were no guarantees. But for the first time, I understood what real wealth was: moments, love, being present. One night he fell asleep holding my hand. I watched his chest rise and fall and thought of all the nights I had worked late, all the times I bought gifts instead of giving my time. The past couldn't be changed, but the future could. And no matter what happened next, money would never again come between me and my family. Seasons changed outside the hospital windows while our world stood still, filled with tests, medicines, and endless waiting. Some days were darker than others. But my son never stopped smiling. Fast the doctors told us his body was responding to the treatment, but we had to be patient. His hair was gone, his body was weak, but his spirit was strong. My wife and I took turns staying with him, but I never wanted to leave. I had missed too much already. I had spent years building a life that I thought was perfect, but I had ignored the most important part: my family. Now I wanted nothing more than to be with them. One evening my older son visited. He sat beside his brother, holding his hand. "I miss you at home," he said softly. His eyes were filled with sadness. My younger son squeezed his hand and whispered, "I miss home too." I watched them, my heart heavy with guilt. I had worked so hard to give them a good life, but I had not given them enough of myself. Now I saw what they really needed: not a big house, not expensive gifts. They just needed each other. They needed their family to be whole. One night I sat alone in the hospital room while my wife took a short break. The lights were dim and my son was asleep. I thought about the past, about the years I had spent chasing wealth. I remembered the late nights at the office, the missed birthdays, the times I had promised. Maybe next time. But time does not wait. It moves forward, and if we are not careful, we lose the moments that matter most. I looked at my son. His small fingers curled around his blanket. He was fighting for his life, and yet he was teaching me how to live. He was teaching me what happiness really meant. It was not in the things I had spent years working for. It was in love, in time, in being present. From that night on, I changed. I stopped thinking about work. I stopped checking my phone every minute. I stopped worrying about business meetings and bank accounts. My only focus was my family. I knew now that money was not the answer. Happiness was not something I could buy. It was something I had to give. The doctors gave us more hope. My son was getting stronger, slowly. He started sitting up, then walking short distances. It was not easy, but he never gave up. He held my hand, and we took small steps together. Every step felt like a victory. Every smile felt like a gift. I had spent years chasing happiness in the wrong places. Now I found it in the simplest moments, walking beside my son, holding his hand, seeing my family together. As the weeks passed, we began to talk about going home. The idea of leaving the hospital felt unreal. It had been our world for so long. But my son was ready. He wanted to sleep in his own bed, play with his brother, eat dinner at our table again. We had spent so much time waiting for this moment, and now it was finally close. The day we left the hospital was a day I would never forget. My son held my hand as we walked toward the car. He was still weak, but his eyes were bright with excitement. The sun felt warm on our skin, and for the first time in months we breathed fresh air without fear. My wife smiled as she helped him into the car, and I could see the relief on her face. After so many nights in the hospital, we were finally going home. When we entered the house, everything felt different. It was the same big house with the same expensive furniture, but now it had a new meaning. It was not just a house. It was our home. My older son ran to his brother and hugged him tightly. "I miss you," he said softly. My younger son smiled and whispered, "I miss you too." My wife wiped her eyes, and I felt my chest tighten. These were the moments I had once ignored, and now they meant everything to me. Life slowly returned to normal. But I was not the same man I had been before. I no longer spent hours at my office. I no longer let work take me away from my family. Instead, I spent my days with my children, playing games, telling stories, and making memories. I had spent so many years chasing money, thinking it would bring happiness. But now I saw the truth. Happiness was in time, in love, in being present. There were still difficult days. My son was still recovering, and we had to visit the doctor often. Some nights fear returned, but we faced it together. My wife and I held each other, knowing that we were stronger now. We had learned what truly mattered. No amount of money could change the past, but we could make sure our future was filled with love and time spent together. One evening, as we sat in the living room, my son rested his head on my shoulder. "Daddy, you're home a lot now," he said. His voice was soft, full of happiness. I smiled and kissed his head. "Yes," I whispered, "and I will always be here." I had spent years running after the wrong dream. Now I had found the real one, the love of my family, and this time I would never let it go.